Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. If you have been with us since our days covering LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga or Star Wars Jedi Survivor, you will know one thing that we absolutely love doing on this channel is really getting into the weeds and doing deep dive breakdowns of the various new gameplay features from the games that we cover. And today we are going to be doing exactly that, as we are going to do a deep dive breakdown of the brand new suit tech and upgrades in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. But before we get into this breakdown, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you as always, and the way to do that, just go down below this video and hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It will notify you every single time that Andreas and I upload. But we also have one more exciting announcement, don't we?
That's right, Nick, we do. We have an exciting Q&A to celebrate hitting our 20,000 subscriber milestone, and we're actually going to be celebrating this milestone a bit different than we've done it in the past. In the past, we have posted our Q&As here on YouTube. This time, we are going to be doing our Q&A live on Discord. The link to join our Discord is in the description down below, and we're going to be hosting this Q&A this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific. More information on how to join in on our Q&A will be in our Discord, so make sure to join in the next couple of days so you don't miss out. With that, Nick, you ready to get into this one?
Yep, definitely am. Let's do it.
As you all should know by now, Insomniac gave us a look at their menu in the State of Play trailer. In this menu, we got to see the various different tabs. We saw the map interface. Today, we're going to be honing in on suit tech in particular. But Nick, why don't you just give us the general lay of the land before we begin our deep dive here?
Yes, absolutely, and I'm very excited because I have been waiting for Insomniac to show off this menu so that we could do various breakdowns like this, and I think suit tech is a great place to start. And as you guys see at the top of this menu, there are various different tabs you can go across. I just want to do a general breakdown of what we're seeing here. You'll see that you can toggle between the map, the suits, the brand new suit tech, the gadget screen, the skill tree, the abilities, etc., so forth and so on. But let's talk about suit tech today, because that is one of the main menus that we saw in the State of Play trailer. We saw suit tech, and we got to see the gadgets menu very briefly. Now, of course, we didn't get all of the information, so there will be a lot of speculation in this breakdown, but that is one thing that we absolutely love doing here, so I'm very excited to do that. So let's start off with the general overview of the suit tech menu in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. If you guys think back to Marvel's Spider-Man 1 and Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, more notably Miles Morales, this to me seems very reminiscent of the suit mods, which, if you remember, you got 2 mods for your visor and you got 2 mods for your suit. And it looks like in Marvel Spider-Man 2, we are going to be taking that to the next level, which is something that we've seen very frequently out of Insomniac with Marvel Spider-Man 2. If you take a look at this menu, you will see that there are actually 4 subcategories of suit tech, that being health, damage, focus, and traversal. And in the State of Play trailer, we got a good look at the traversal tree for this subcategory of suit tech. But if you take a look underneath each of these categories, Andreas, you will notice that there are actually 8 tiers each for these upgrades. And if you look at the traversal, you will see these 8 various tiers, including some of them actually having 2 upgrades to go along with this tree, which poses a lot of interesting questions.
Yeah, it does. It starts off with 2 what appear to be just pictures of Spider-Man's foot. And then there is 1 tier that has 2 stacked abilities on them. Let's just call these upgrades for now. So there are 2 stacked upgrades, and then there are 2 more individual Spider-Man feet. And then you have the second level of tiered upgrades, and then it ends off with 2 final traversal upgrades at the end. And so it looks to be that you will be upgrading along this line from 1 to 8, with 1 being the lowest upgraded, 8 being the highest upgraded. And along the way, I think the real complication here will be those tiered upgrades. But before we get into that, Nick, we actually got a look at one particular regular upgrade. I believe it is the 5th traversal upgrade. They showed off in just a single frame that one of these upgrades will be spectacular wings. And what spectacular wings will do is it increases your web wings turn speed for improved handling. So I think these regular traversal upgrades, which show just that traversal icon of Spider-Man's foot, they will be upgrading various different traversal mechanics in this game, such as the web wings, perhaps even the web swinging, and maybe other traversal mechanics as well.
Yeah, this was very easy to miss. Like you said, this is in a very brief frame in the State of Play trailer. We actually did not catch it until we went back and were doing our frame-by-frame analysis of this trailer and actually noticed that they showcased this spectacular wings ability in this segment of the gameplay. And one thing I do want to talk about, and you just mentioned, Andreas, is even though this looks like it's dealing with like him moving faster, like that's what the icon is of him like running faster, like his foot moving faster, it does appear that these will be dealing with all of the traversal mechanics in this game. Like you said, this one will be dealing with web wings. We actually have 6 of these base upgrades. I'm just going to call it a base upgrade since they're not stacked and they all have that same icon. I wonder, since there are 6 of them, if it will be something like 3 of them deal with web swinging and 3 of them deal with the web wings, or if they'll do like 2 deal with how fast you actually move on foot, 2 will deal with web wings, and 2 will deal with the web swinging, or if, because the web wings are the new mechanic to Marvel Spider-Man, if most of these or majority of these will be dealing with the web wings themselves, making them more versatile, making them just easier to use, faster to move around, stuff like that, just upgrades in general to that. But it is incredibly exciting that we will be getting to upgrade the web wing, since it is a brand new mechanic that we're already going to be able to change it and make it even better than what it will be in the base game. But Andreas, this is not the only ability that we got to see. Quickly, this changes to the first or the second tiered upgrades where they're stacked on top of each other. And we see this one is called All Seeing. And this one, once you unlock it, will reveal tech crates on your minimap. And there's a couple interesting things here. First, it shows you how much these things are going to cost and what they're going to cost. So for this upgrade, you're going to have to turn in 225 tech parts and 6 hero tokens, 2 of those currencies that you will earn in various ways throughout your gameplay in Marvel Spider-Man 2. This is what 2, that being the hero tokens and tech parts, will be used for in this game, which is a nice answer to know what exactly we're going to be using those currencies for. And we also find out for the gadgets, for example, through this trailer, what we will be using that currency for. But just nice to know what we're going to be able to use, what we earn. And what is interesting to me, Andreas, is if you go back to the spectacular wings thing when it's highlighted, it says that it's owned. But then as this little segment progresses and this guy unlocks this next tier, it actually unlocks both of these, but then it just puts a green check mark over the all-seeing one and labels that one as equipped. And this has provided a lot of interesting questions for me personally, that being, will we only be able to equip one of these upgrades for each of these subcategories of the suit tech? Will these all stack on top of each other? Because it looks like a progress bar as you unlock it. You can see that it like illuminates more and more of this little rectangular area. So I wonder if you only be able to have one equipped, because on the first one, the web wings one, it just said it was owned. It didn't say equipped like this one does. So I'm just wondering if they'll stack on top of each other, if you only be able to equip one. I'm assuming and hoping that we'll at least be able to equip one per subcategory. Like we'll get at least one for health, one for damage, one for focus, and one for traversal. Like they're not going to force us to pick just one of these upgrades across all of these subcategories. But I'm just interested to get your thoughts, Andreas. Do you think this is going to be stacked on top of each other, or do you think we're going to have to actually pick and equip certain upgrades and really pick and choose our battles here and there?
You know, just from what we got from this trailer, I think the easiest way for me to think about this right now is that there are 2 types of upgrades per suit tech category, there being 4 suit tech categories. There are the base upgrades, which are those Spider-Man feet, and then there are special upgrades, and we have 4 of them here. Now, one thing that I'm seeing is one of them for all seeing has a check mark on them, but if you look at the first level of what I'll call special upgrades, those 2 that are stacked on top of one another, there's no check mark on either of those. So I'm wondering if you are only allowed to check off one of these special upgrades per suit tech category because we only see one check. Now, I will caveat that we don't get to see this checkmark animation play out fully, so it is very possible that this checkmark is only temporary and it checks the all-seeing ability very briefly when you equip it, and it may be the case that that checkmark eventually disappears. But if that checkmark sticks around for the entirety of when you're looking at this interface, it would suggest to me, Nick, that you can only equip one of these special upgrades at a time. And I'm wondering, how people are going to respond to that, because, I mean, when you look at the menu, it looks like you have so many upgrades, but it may add a bit of strategy to this game, because in addition to a conventional skill tree where I'm sure you will be left with all sorts of decisions as to what you are going to be upgrading, now you might be left with even further decisions in the suit tech skill tree, or upgrade panel, whatever we want to call it. It looks like this will play into increasing the levels of strategy that go on with this game, which might actually be a welcome addition to this game.
One thing I am wondering, speaking of the skill tree, is we didn't get a look at all of these upgrades for the suit tech. We saw the web wing one, and we saw that that's just part of the icon for this subcategory being the traversal, but there are these 4 special icons here in this upgrade tree, and we saw that one of them is all-seeing. And I just wonder, you see those first 2, and that top one, it looks like the Tricks skill tree upgrade from Marvel Spider-Man, which was a part of the skill tree where you unlocked it, and then it opened up the ability to do skills to earn XP and stuff to level up and things like that. And then the one beneath the all-seeing one looks almost like that web zip ability from the first few games where you could zip forward by pressing X. Of course, we don't know that for sure. This is just what the icons kind of look like. Perhaps that is like a dash on the ground, but to me, Andreas, at least that first one looks like the skills one. And I just wonder how this is going to play together with the skill tree in this game, since this is such a new mechanic to the franchise. Will, for example, you be able to actually go into the skill tree if you can only pick one from these subcategories and actually upgrade it to where you could pick multiple of these from these categories? Will they have this sort of seamless transition between the two where they'll act on each other and one will actually impact the other and vice versa? I just wonder if they're going to do something like that in this game. And one thing I am wondering also, Andreas, is what could we possibly see from the other 3 subcategories that we didn't get to see? Of course, we saw health, we saw damage, and we saw focus. To me, it looks like focus is going to be dealing with the spider sense type stuff and the scanning ability and stuff like that, like, your L3, R3 abilities, stuff like that, increasing the strength of your spider sense. Damage speaks for itself. You'll be able to increase probably how powerful your attacks are, or perhaps unlock different combos. And then the health one, of course, you'll just, either increase your base health or allow you access to heal more, something like that. But those all seem like things to me, Andreas, that would belong in a skill tree. So I'm just incredibly intrigued to see how these multitude of skill trees that we know are going to be in this game are going to play with the suit tech, when it seems like there's a lot of overlapping, or at least natural overlapping, that should be occurring here.
That's a great point, Nick. I am really wondering how these suit tech upgrades are going to interface with the skill trees in this game. I believe there's going to be a skill tree for Peter, a skill tree for Miles, and then a shared skill tree in this game. And that also makes me wonder how these suit tech upgrades apply to Peter and to Miles. Is it just presumed that it will be applicable to both? I think this menu is suggesting to me that it is going to be applicable to both, because in the first place, there isn't like a Miles and Peter tab, and in the second place, if it's to be made even more blatant, both Peter and Miles are in the background for this menu. But one thing that I am wondering is, if we look to the bottom of the menu, there is a button that says equip all heroes if you hold the X button. And so I am wondering if that is also confirming that you are equipping one of these special upgrades to all heroes, meaning both Peter and Miles. So just more details that we can sort of pull from this menu here. And of course, Nick, these videos are first and foremost of interest to us because we get to interact with all of you and your opinions on menus. So I'd love to hear what you all have to say about the suit tech upgrade interface system that we have here. What do you all think about the different tiers of upgrades? For the special upgrades, are you thinking that we're going to get to apply more than one? And what do you think some of the other suit tech upgrades in the other categories are? I'd love to hear what suit tech upgrades you might all come up with. Maybe put down your wish list for suit tech upgrades, and then we can kind of read through those. I'm sure that would be very interesting. However, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.